Good morning. You're listening to WWSU 106.9 FM Fairborn Dayton, Dayton's right choice. This is the Guardian News Hour. I'm Jamie Naylor. I'm the editor-in-chief with the Wright State Guardian. Here in the studio with me, I have Alexis Lewis, who is our managing editor, and Emily Mancuso, who is a Wright Life editor. We also have Dylan Collison helping us manage the board, as this is our first time. Well, actually, not our first time doing this show. You might recognize this show from College Radio Day. So it was so popular and we had so much fun that we're bringing it back into a regular schedule. So that is very exciting for us. This morning, it's we are going to talk about news from around the world, national news and local news. Then we're going to head over to Alexis with sports, and we'll wrap up this show this morning with some fun news. So that's a little bit of the breakdown today. First, I want to check in with the people in the studio. How are you this morning?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
Uh, I'm I'm doing pretty well as good as I can, but I'm just tired because the Sunday night assignments that are due at midnight
Yeah.
that I've been putting off. So
Yeah, it's like the Sunday night grind into like Monday morning. Although I always find Mondays more productive for me personally. Um, so yeah. Well, let's jump on into news here. First, we're going to start off with some world news and then bring it down. My first piece of world news, it was actually covered in The Guardian's weekly news roundup, but it's talking about how Elizabeth Truss, who was the United Kingdom's prime minister, she resigned last week and on October 20th after just 6 weeks in office following the resignation of previous Prime Minister Boris Johnson. And in recent days, conflict arose in the British Parliament over Truss economic policies. So apparently, she had some economic policies that were not very popular with the British public, and I know the British economy, it has been kind of struggling there, as I think a lot of world economies have been, coming off of the pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine war. So yeah, I just thought that was like really interesting that, she was only in office like 6 weeks and then like resigned. And it's gonna be really interesting how they choose another person. Um, so yeah, got any thoughts on that?
Yeah. I think that a lot of a lot of our sources like say that Liz Truss is a very, very opinionated person, like very strong, strong-willed, heavy, strong-headed. So I'm kind of interested to see how they're going to transition out of that into somebody different, maybe somebody new. I'm just as curious as you.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be interesting. Also, so I'm going on to like our next story, and I got so distracted because it's on the White House's press briefings, and the little logo, the little like White House logo, it has a bat,
there, it's
like a bat, like
it's a, s-
animated bat flying around on it for Halloween.
It's a spooky White House. They have to
It's a
get spooky
spooky
too.
White House. Okay, that's great. So moving on. So in other prime minister news, Georgina Meloni, I probably pronounced that so wrong, just became the new prime minister of Italy. And because I know this was also a very like contested race, in Italy, just because the differences in political parties there. But our president, Joe Biden, supports this decision, and he sent out a press release on, when was this? Friday. Nope, not Friday. October 22nd.
Mm.
Wait, was that Friday? That was Friday. And congratulating this person on becoming the new prime minister of Italy.
Yeah.
So a lot of
And
prime ministers like moving around, a lot of leaders moving around.
yeah, and I know that in Italy right now, especially like mainly over the summer, but still to this still now, um they've had extreme droughts. And so I'm curious as to how this new prime minister will like handle um any sort of like legislation or just action with like climate change. Um that's something that I'm really interested to kind of like see how that plays out.
Mhm.
It's funny that you mentioned that because our next story is actually in regards to climate change. Um, and the United Nations sent out a release about the recent flooding in Nigeria. Um, and the Secretary General of the UN, quote, called it the worst in a decade. And the United Nations is actually providing support and aid to Nigeria um, to help with this flooding. From this press release, I'm just going to quote it here. Quote, hundreds of lives and livelihoods have been lost. 1.3 million people have been displaced, and more than 2.8 million people have been impacted by the floods. Infrastructure and farmland have also been damaged, worsening the cost of living across the country. So
Yeah.
that's, yeah.
And I think it like talks about the severity of how bad that the flooding really is, because a lot of time, unfortunately, media doesn't really cover a lot of African issues, I think. And so for this to actually be talked about, like Nigeria, like on the African continent, I think really speaks to how serious this really is.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, that is a really good point. And I know when we first did this show on College Radio Day, we had a conversation about climate change and we were like,
Mhm.
this is going to be interesting to see like and like storms because Hurricane Ian was going on at that point. Um so you just to see kind of some of these continuance like the drought in Italy, the flooding in Nigeria,
Well, and the floods in Pakistan.
the floods in Pakistan as well.
I mean,
So
like, and just like afterwards, the aftermath, the recovery. Um, it's it's very. You
Yeah.
know, we talked about it last time too about how if it's not in your backyard, sometimes it's easy to look away from it or not acknowledge it.
Yeah.
But
There was also the floods in Korea as well,
mm,
especially in
like
like the bigger
monsoon
cities.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just remember seeing this like one photo of this just businessman in full suit just
Mm,
sitting on top of his car while like the flood waters
yeah.
and
yeah, it's definitely yeah, it's definitely an issue that I think a lot of people across the world, are facing. And, as you said, Alexis, some people just because it's not in your backyard, you don't pay attention to it, or just because it's not in your backyard now,
Mhm.
doesn't mean that it's not going to be in your backyard,
Mhm. Right.
in a few years from now. Because I know like every part of the world is impacted by flooding and storms and just
Mhm.
Mother Nature being Mother Nature.
Right.
So yeah, that will be definitely interesting. Before we move on to national news, do you guys have anything else or any further comments on world news?
I don't. I'm really excited to go to the national news actually because the first one is sporty.
It is sporty. I believe this was also from the Guardian's weekly news roundup. So, for those who are not familiar, every single week, our amazing, fantastic news team puts together a news roundup and it goes out on Monday mornings on our Wright State Guardian website. So, you could read that there as well. And it just talks about like what we're talking about. It doesn't cover quite as much, but it's just a nice, good flash to get your morning started and just tell you a little bit about what's going on in the world, what's going on in the nation, what's going on here in Dayton. So if you're like curious of just having a quick little news flash, that's a great article that you can go check out. And this first national topic that we're gonna talk about is actually from the news roundup again. So it's about the U.S. women's national soccer team, I believe. Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I'm not a sports person, so
I can go over this one if you
yeah, go
want.
for it, Alexis.
So, the World Cup is coming up, the FIFA World Cup. Um, and so the U.S. women's national team is going to be playing Vietnam, the Netherlands, and a Group A playoff winner, which could be either Portugal, Thailand, or Cameroon. Um, from Group E. So this is really exciting because I have a fun fact for you all.
Ooh, I love fun
Are you
facts.
excited for a fun fact? So the U.S. women's national team have played 713 matches in their history,
Wow.
but these are the first time they have ever played in New Zealand.
Wow.
Wow.
New Zealand. They've never played in New Zealand. I don't know why. Like, don't know what it is. They played in Australia, but not New Zealand. And so that's just a fun little fact.
So what do we know about these teams that they're first playing?
Oh, bestie, what do we know? I don't know. No. I know that this is the first time Vietnam is playing in the World Cup, which is actually really exciting.
That's super awesome.
There's a debut team. Sorry. But yeah, I mean that's really all that I know of the ones from the Group A playoff winning teams.
I'm still very excited for them, especially
Yeah.
since this is a team with a lot of firsts, I think.
Mhm. And so I'm really excited to like see, just because the U.S. women's national team is like iconic, legendary. They are amazing. And we've seen that in recent years and just in their whole history in general. And so I'm really excited about it. And I know Adam, sports director, I know he's excited. I know Noah's excited.
I need to start following
Yeah.
Yeah,
following the team.
I know. I played soccer in high school,
Really?
but I didn't. I don't know. I always preferred playing it over watching it.
Mhm.
I can't lie.
I always tell myself if I'm gonna get like involved, as in like following the news about one sport, it'd probably be soccer.
Probably be
And
soccer.
it always surprises me how like soccer or football, as it's called
Yes.
in most countries, is so much popular
Oh,
like,
it is.
internationally.
Yeah.
And
It
it is,
is.
of course, it's still one of the main sports here, but it's such a weird phenomenon. I know.
So I actually have a little anecdote. When I was studying abroad in France, over in May, this past May,
Mhm.
we were in Nice, and like one of the first days that we were in Nice, there was a really, really big soccer game. Like I believe the French national team was playing. I believe it was like Spain or something, and they actually like blocked off the entire like town square and had like this huge screen with like all the speakers and like all these people like from just the town just like came and converged on this like little town square to just watch and celebrate like this what's called football now this like soccer football game, and it was just like so cool to see, and it was like such a big deal. Like it was a big deal.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's definitely like I feel like it's way more popular, especially in Europe, rather
yeah.
than here.
I wish Zach was here to commentate.
Yeah, Zach.
Yeah.
Zach,
So Zach is a wildlife reporter, and he's from the UK. So that would be really interesting to get his perspective on like
Especially like growing up with it,
yeah.
because like little kids, like that's when you kind of get like your exposure to sports. I feel like is when you're young, when you're a
Yeah.
kid, you're just going out playing, having fun, running around, kicking a ball, and so
yeah, and with
I
like
wonder what
English,
that's like.
yeah, I feel like and with English sports teams, like most countries, you can't even name like one soccer club, but you could be like Manchester, Chelsea,
Ooh,
whatever.
Emily's got some names here for us.
Just dropping names.
See,
Arsenal.
that's
See, I know a little.
well, yeah, and like that just goes to show, like that goes like, it's
Yeah, like
extremely
I'm
popular.
I'm not a sports person, and yet I was still able to name
Yeah.
some of some of their teams.
Well, if you like that conversation, stay tuned because we're going to be talking more about sports. But before we do that, we're going to move into a little bit of politics news. Our last national topic that we have is about the January 6th committee hearings. And so, according to the White House January 6th Select Committee Friday press release, Chairman Beanie Thompson, love that name, and Vice Chair Liz Cheney today announced that the Select Committee has issued a subpoena to former President Donald Trump for testimony under oath and records relevant to the Select Committee's investigation. So he got subpoenaed. It's really going to be interesting if he actually presents these records, and if he does, like, what will be like in them.
Mhm.
This has, like, it's funny to be still talking about this topic because I know I actually covered the initial January 6th event for The Guardian back in 2020 when I was just a cute little news item. Um, so it's interesting that, like, we're still talking about this to this day in 2022. And it's really going to be interesting to see how all of this concludes, if it does conclude.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Like, if it does, I mean, this kind of a process takes a while, but I don't know. It's really interesting to see how the process is going
Mhm.
because, I mean, I don't know, politics in general and just national topics and stuff can get really confusing, but also, I mean, the whole January 6th incident itself was very like confusing and very
It was intense, okay?
yeah,
Like,
and
I remember so the AP Associated Press, which is the serial book that we use in news, they actually had to, like, come out with, like, a list of terms that we could use to cover it, and,
yeah.
like, what we could say and, like, what we couldn't say, and, like, what was proper and professional and what was not. It was very confusing, and it was very difficult to, like, process and to cover, and yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah, and I mean, especially because it's like a breaking news event, but it's very different than other breaking news events because you know what I mean. Everything is just unraveling so quickly, and so many different things are changing. It's very chaotic too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
With like the
definitely chaotic.
political landscape being as like volatile, I think as it is that like but at the same time we're so used to being having all of this negative news. I remember when I heard it was just like, "Oh my god, this is happening." But at the same time like, what did we expect?
Mhm.
And cuz we've had all these like recent events where there's been like a lot of political discourse and I
Mhm.
was like, well, that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, like another historical event. Yeah, it's been an interesting couple of years. I'm not gonna lie. Um, continuing on the topic of politics and moving to some local news. The midterm elections are coming up, and there's a lot of candidates in Ohio, and a lot of for not only our Ohio governments and our local governments and our state governments, but also some seats at the I almost said federal level. I meant
Dang.
national level. Though it is kind of that. That's a different topic. Anywho, so I actually the Guardian. So myself, wonderful new news reporter,
Mhm.
Elena Stortz, and our lovely photographer Arden Remier. Uh, we all went down. Let's see, what was it? Thursday,
Yes,
past
Thursday.
Thursday,
Yep.
to Nan Rayleigh held this candidate event where it's called the Debates Ohio Dissolves because Mike DeWine refuses to debate.
Well, and he refuses to debate, but also the majority of his campaign so far, there's no, on his website and in his platform in general, there's not really uh it's not really the campaign itself isn't necessarily the priority it seems. It seems just like his
Kind of on the backbone of him.
well, it's just kind of a list of what he has done during his tenure is seems to be like the campaign so far.
Yeah. Oh, and we should probably clarify. So, Governor Mike DeWine is Ohio's current governor, and
Mhm.
Nan Whaley is the previous mayor of Dayton,
Yes.
and she is running for that spot. She's a Democrat, and Mike DeWine is a Republican. So yeah, at this event on Thursday, she talked about her policies and her platform, which I thought was really interesting, especially because we
Mhm.
don't get to see, like, DeWine's side.
Mhm.
Um, so that was very, very interesting. Her running mate is Cheryl Stevens, and Mike DeWine's running mate is John Houston.
Mhm.
Um,
Yep.
some other big offices in Ohio that are up for election in this midterm. By the way, I'm also looking, I'll show it to the camera for those on YouTube. This is a photo guide. I got it at the Dunbar Library here on campus, but I know that it's from the League of Women Voters of Greater Dayton area, and they've been dropping off these photo guides at public libraries. So if you're looking for like a good photo guide, go to your library. It's
I've
very
yeah,
informative.
I've worked in a library and I go to the Dunbar Library a lot, and I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So there's a lot of good photo guides online if you just want to learn more about the issues. I know the Wright State Guardian on our website. We have a voter guide on there. Dayton Daily has a voter guide. So definitely like get informed about like the people who you're going to be voting for in this midterm election. So speaking of that, our Attorney General is up for election here. Same with our State Auditor and our Treasurer of State. We're also going to be voting on Supreme Court justices and Chief Justice for the Ohio Supreme Court and Justice of the Ohio Supreme Court. There are quite a few candidates for these, and it's very cool because most of them are women, and I just love seeing more women in politics and in government. Um, that's just so cool.
Yeah.
There's also the Ohio Senate race in District 5, which is Montgomery County. Again, a woman running for that. And U.S. House District 10 for the 10th congressional race is also up on ballot. There's a lot of Montgomery County people as well who are up. Like I said, get you a really good photo guide and
Yeah.
it'll be good.
I actually met a Montgomery County commissioner
Really?
this weekend. Yeah.
That's
It was at
awesome.
like an offhand event too. I went to a regenerative farming farm festival, and she was just there chilling.
Just chilling.
I said,
What
"Hey,
county again was she?
Montgomery."
Montgomery. That's so
I'm
cool.
elated, but they will make festivals out of anything. Regenerative Farm Festival. I mean,
Oh,
I support.
You'll
but-
hear more about that from me later.
That's awesome.
And also, speaking of the whole Nan Whaley thing, Jamie got to ask her a question.
Yes,
And
Jamie, do you wanna
Yo,
tell us what she
I like low key like freaked out a bit because like I don't know, it's just like such a big thing like as a student journalist to be able to ask like a big politician like a question like that was like just so big for me. Like I like screw like meeting a famous person. I got to meet a politician, which I know a lot of people would be like, but like I'm like my OG is like news reporter and just being a journalist. So that was like a really big moment for me as a student journalist. Like I literally like screamed afterwards. Anywho, I don't mean to like fangirl over the midterm elections, but yeah, I did. I got to ask Nan Whaley a question. It was about you know what her plans were to help colleges and universities, especially since we're in this post pandemic situation right now. Or kind of, I mean, the pandemic's still here, but it's like a lot less. And some of the fundings that happened in the pandemic are waning off, and she was talking about how she wants to make college more affordable for people, and yeah, just how she wants to make things more affordable and more accessible to students, which I think it's very cool to hear her opinion on that.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that was very cool. The whole event was like very cool. I'm not gonna lie, because it was like my first time actually going to like a big political event. Like I've been to press things, but they've mostly been virtual, especially these
Oh.
past couple years.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And like political events too, they mostly been virtual, and this was like my first like in person one. So it's really cool even just to see how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's 9:36. We should
Yep.
probably take a break here soon. Let me scroll over if you guys want to chat here while I figure out how to take a break here.
Okay. Well, I used to be in an organization. It was called Youth in Government. in high school, and we would go to the state house and we would write bills and we would present our bills in the state house and do basically every single thing that you do in terms of like creating, voting on legislation in like the House and Senate.
Hello, can you hear me at all?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, fantastic. I found that how to take a break button. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we get back to the break, Alexis is going to continue talking about what she was talking about and sports. So again, you're listening to WWSU 106.9 FM, Fairborn Dayton, Dayton's Right Choice. And this is Guardian News Hour. One 106.9 FM, Fairborn Dayton, Dayton's Right Choice. Oh, hello. It says silence very on, very low audio detected. Can y'all hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Fantastic. Okay. So again, this is Guardian News Hour.
Try again, Alexis.
Hello, we are back and I can hear myself now.
Hello. Okay. Well, on in here, guys. Thank you for coming along with us. Okay. Hello.
You're good. I am really excited for the next portion of our little news segment.
I am too. So, in the first half of Guardian News Hour, we talked about hot news. Now we are going to turn it over to sports with Alexis.
Yes, I'm really excited to talk about the first little topic here because it is hockey. Hockey is my favorite sport to watch, actually. So the NHL, the National Hockey League, regular season is underway. We've finally started the season. We're about 5, 6-ish games in, depending on the team. So I'm going to give kind of a quick rundown just of the Eastern and Western conferences and what teams are looking good so far, what teams are, really showing a really strong start. So out in the Eastern Conference, we have the Boston Bruins, the Buffalo Sabres, the Pittsburgh Penguins, and Philadelphia Flyers, who are all teams that are nearly undefeated to start this season. Again, we're only 5 games in, but still an impressive showing. So we also have the Western Conference with the Dallas Stars, and their captain, Jamie Benn, really led them into a pretty deep playoff run last year, which is really exciting because for me personally, when I started watching hockey, I was a big Dallas Stars fan. Um, so I'm really excited about that. We also have the reigning Stanley Cup champions, the Colorado Avalanche, with their star players, Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar, who led the team to dethrone the Tampa Bay Lightning last year for the Stanley Cup, which was an exhilarating Stanley Cup final to watch. For me, I know I have a friend who worked for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Actually, he has the Stanley Cup ring, and I've put it on my finger. I've worn a Stanley Cup ring before, and it is humongous. It is thick.
Thick with 2 C's.
It has like a really blue, because the Tampa Bay Lightning, their colors are blue and white, but the gem, I'm not sure what kind of stone or gem it is, what the name is, but it's bright blue.
Ooh.
And it was gorgeous. But anyway, that's just a fun little moment. But we also have the Calgary Flames and the Vegas Golden Knights showing out as the top teams at the start of the season. And I have always been impressed with the Vegas Golden Knights. And they debuted in the NHL a few years ago, and they soared. They were extremely good as a brand new team to the league, which was really, really exciting. So, yeah, like I said, hockey has a soft spot in my heart. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this season. Really excited for it. I think that we're gonna have a lot of underdogs performing very well this season. So, and I'm hoping to get some more Canadian teams in the playoff next year. I think that a lot of hockey fans do like to see that a little bit more Canadian presence in there too. So it'll be really fun to see kind of how the season will go. So that's just a quick little rundown.
I love that. I know nothing about hockey. I don't think I've ever seen it, but that does sound fun. Also, I just think it's so cute how they play a sport like literally on ice.
Literally on ice.
Like that would be a slippery situation. So that is
over
impressive.
over the summer, some teams will have like the family pets come out, like little dogs. Like their
Aw.
little puppies, their little animals come out and like play on the ice with the children during off season. It's so fun. I love it.
So fun. You also have on here something about college football.
Yes.
What's going on with college football?
So college football. This past weekend we have the Associated Press poll, and first is Georgia, second is Ohio State, third is Tennessee, which that Tennessee game was insane. Tennessee played Alabama, and Alabama is known as just the GOAT. That's the GOAT of college football, is Alabama. Widely known as, I'll say. The Alabama Crimson Tide. And Tennessee had a game at Tennessee against Alabama, and it was insane. I actually have a friend who goes to Tennessee, and I mean, like, if you've ever seen those people, like, that storm the field
Mm-hmm.
and all of that stuff, like, it was massive.
I don't know what sport it was, but I saw a TikTok where a bunch of fans stormed the field and like stole the goalpost.
Yes, that's it. They stole the goalpost.
Okay, that was the one. Okay.
Yes, and they stole the goalpost, and I don't know. I feel like I think Adam, the sports director here at WWSU, said that they stole the goalpost and then they like exited the whole stadium. They took it out of the stadium.
They just took it out.
They
Just
took it out
like,
of the stadium.
it's mine now. Okay.
And I'm gonna try and find like what happened. What happened? What is the
Yeah,
story
like
with the
what?
goalpost?
What's with who has that goalpost now? Like, did they baton it?
Well, I
Like-
heard that Tennessee is asking students to pitch in money to replace it. And I'm like, they already
That's a little
tuition.
iconic. Oh
Um,
goodness.
So 7 days ago, apparently, they need a new goalpost after a euphoric win. The Tennessee Volunteers fan tore it down. The school is facing a $100,000 fine.
Oh my goodness, $100,000 fine. That's good. That's really good.
Yep. So, and that's also, I think, partly because the league has a rule basically where fans technically aren't allowed to access the competition area. So that's also just for the fact that they stormed the field. But it was pretty insane. I was concerned for the safety.
Yeah, that would be definitely a safety concern. Y'all, I am getting a phone call, so if you hear that in the background, that's what that is.
Decline it.
I don't want to decline it. I want them to leave me a message because I recognize the number and I've been waiting for this person to call me.
If you press this, it'll stop the sound.
Oh, really?
But it'll keep the phone call. Yep.
Okay, well,
a PSA for anybody that doesn't know that owns an iPhone. If you're getting a phone call, you want it to stop vibrating or stop ringing, you click that button and they can still leave you a message.
that's awesome.
There you go.
So hopefully that person left me a message. Well, thank you so much for the sports update, Alexis. I'm really
Can I
excited.
say one more thing about?
Yes, go for
I'll
it.
just throw in one more thing because it's really important. If we have to move on to the next part. So, Major League Baseball playoffs have been insane. Nothing to what I expected. I did not think what went down would go down. So last night the Houston Astros beat the New York Yankees 6-5, and I am sure you both know the Yankees and know how historic that franchise is, and how we talked about it a little bit last time about how crazy their season has been. I mean, they have been just absolutely killing it, and they went down 4-0. They lost 4 games in a row to the Houston Astros. So now the Houston Astros are playing the 4th World Series in the last 6 years.
Wow.
So they will be playing the underdog. Actually, it's a pretty big underdog, the Philadelphia Phillies, who have some pretty big studs like Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber. And a lot of people are asking, are they getting hot at the right time? Like, is this October magic is what they call it? And it's basically like baseball is very much a sport of chance, because, you know, you're doing good when you have a 300 batting average, which basically means you're hitting 30%, like 3 out of 10. And so it's pretty exciting. I always love playoff baseball because it reminds me of home. It reminds me of, you know, just like growing up around it, but also it's really fun because you never know what's going to happen in baseball, as my dad always said. So yeah, that's the update. The World Series starts on Friday with the Phillies and the Astros, and I am very excited for that. So that was just another big news topic in the sports world since last night, actually.
Well, that is very fascinating. I'm not gonna pretend like I know about sports, but so yeah, thank you for that update. That is gonna be exciting to see how the college football season plays out, how the hockey plays out, and what the Astros do. Especially it'd be interesting if any more goalposts are stolen.
Right? I'm kind of hoping. I kind of want to see it again.
I don't want to see that again. speaking of kind of fun and wacky news, we're gonna move into like a fun news commentary section where we kind of just vibe for the last 10 minutes of our show here. So I actually, as I mentioned on this show before, the Associated Press has a section. It's called Oddities, and they put fun or like odd news articles in this section. And I have two for you guys this morning. The first one is how Massachusetts has named the swift-footed lizard as the state's official dinosaur under legislation signed into law Wednesday by Governor Charlie Baker. So, oh goodness, I'm not gonna get this correctly.
What?
Pococeros hyakisis
Where? What?
was seeing more than 60% of the roughly 35,000 votes cast in a social media campaign initiated early last year by State Representative Jack Lewis, beating out another dinosaur that was also discovered in the state.
So I did not know that states had official dinosaurs.
Right?
Do they, or is that
Like-
just a Massachusetts thing?
I'm
What's,
gonna
what's
see-
our state dinosaur?
Well, I looked
We
up.
have one.
There's an Ohio State fossil. But wait, list of U.S. state dinosaurs. Like, I'm trying to see.
What? Do we all have a dinosaur? That would be awesome.
No, we don't. Apparently, only Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, D.C., Massachusetts, Maryland, Missouri, New Jersey, Oklahoma, Texas, Utah, Wyoming, and that's it. Those are the only ones that have it. Sorry, I
Can
kept
we,
scrolling.
like Wright to DeWine or something.
Just like white to DeWine, like we need
Dear-
a dinosaur.
Yeah, dear future governor, can you please give us a dinosaur? Okay, do y'all know your dinosaurs? What would your dinosaur of choice be?
I was gonna say, like, what would your dinosaur of choice be? I like the ones I don't know what's called, but like flies. It's like the like
pterodactyl?
bird- yeah, like the birds. Like most of our bird population is like descended from this one dinosaur. And I love birds. I'm not afraid of birds. Like I love ravens, crows, bats. I love all
Yeah.
of them. So I just think that like that would be my dinosaur since they like kind of paved the way for everything.
They're real trailblazers. It seems.
Yeah.
I like this. I like swimming. I like swimming ones. I don't know why.
Wait, there are dinosaurs that swim?
Yeah,
It's been a hot minute since
it's
I
like
picked in
a
a science class.
they're called like spinosaurs or spinosaurus, something to that effect.
We're all English related majors. We know
we
like
don't-
very little
We
about
don't know.
science.
Yeah, but I mean, they're so I feel like I have like a predilection to pick a T-Rex because which I know there's like so many also different kinds, not just a Tyrannosaurus Rex. But I really like them because when I was little and I would play video games that were dinosaur related, I would always my fighter was a T-Rex and I kind of was dominant in that game. I was pretty good at it.
How about you, Emily? What would your dinosaur be?
What was the one with like the really long neck, like the bronchosaurus?
Oh yeah, the ones that eat out of the really
Yeah,
tall
they just-
trees.
They just again, they just
Brachiosaurus.
really- they kind of remind me of giraffes, and they're really derpy
Aw.
looking.
You're right.
So
You were right. Brachiosaurus.
We stand a good dinosaur here, okay?
Brachiosaurus for Ohio. That should be on the ballot.
That should be on the ballot, you know?
Which dinosaur do you want?
Be like which dinosaur
should
do
have
you
asked
want?
Nan Whaley that.
Yeah,
If she's a
Nan,
dinosaur.
Miss Whaley. If you had to pick, what would Ohio State's dinosaur be?
And like I don't know if they have to be actually like discovered and dug up in the state, but like I feel like
That's true.
I feel like I
It's
feel
the
like there would be a
spirit.
dinosaur somewhere in Ohio.
Oh, there's gotta be. I mean,
Yeah.
have you seen the terrain of Ohio? It's pretty. It can be.
Yeah.
It looks like it's got a lot of fossils.
Yeah.
Let's dig it up.
Yeah, dig it up. You know, archaeology department here might say get on it, you know?
I mean, we already have a cemetery on the grounds. Who knows what's hiding?
Who knows what's
That's
hiding
true.
in the depths
That's
of
true.
the
We
earth?
do have a cemetery on the grounds. It's for Boonshoff School of Medicine and the cadaver program, so that people can like donate their bodies to like science and our medical school can
I know people who
study
did.
them. That's awesome. I always thought that was interesting, and like that practice has been like it's so old because like how we like how anyone really knew or found out about the human body was by digging up cadavers from graveyards and
Yeah.
like studying them. And that's been in practice for like so long, and like it used to be illegal.
Huh.
Now they actually have a process to like make it like legal. Like you can't just like rob
Right.
like you can't just rob a graveyard because that's like disrespectful.
which happened in I know I'm just talking about the article I just recently did, but we did have an instance of like so the Rockfield the cemetery I was talking about. There's the modern one, which is like where the cadavers are buried, and then there's the old graveyard of the previous owners of not Wright State, but like the property Wright State was
Right.
on.
Mhm.
And one of the people on it was grave robbed.
Wow,
And
Wow.
that's rough.
Yeah.
That
Dang.
ghost is
and like
probably
100 years
haunting.
later too, so he's just like
Oh yeah, it was like way after the fact. Like, what are you gonna find when you do? You're not gonna find much.
Yeah.
and like I didn't say this in my article, but apparently they don't think the grave robber actually got away with anything in the grave
Oh.
because they think that like a farm dog scared him off or something.
Just barking, just like get out of this grave.
That would scare me. Like if I saw, especially it was probably at night. If I was in a graveyard alone at night trying to rob a grave, and I hear like barking from the distance, like I'm out of there.
Yeah.
Like I'm out so quickly.
You gotta have a will of steel though, to be A, in a graveyard at night, B, digging up a grave. I mean, but hey, if a dog's coming at you, I'd be running.
Yeah, I'd definitely be running. Okay, so I know we had a little bit more on our agenda, but we're running out of time here. It is so Halloween, as we're talking about graveyards and spooky stuff, Halloween is exactly 1 week from today, and there's a lot of things going on. Are you guys excited for Halloween?
I am excited for Halloween. I used to just do the whole shebang and just dress up for it, but now I'm actually like really enjoying the season, really enjoying the whole Halloween spirit.
What are you guys dressing up as?
I cannot divulge that. I cannot divulge that
Oh, okay, so
information.
it's gonna be a surprise.
It's a little surprise if you see me on Friday.
So we're having a Halloween themed planning meeting on Friday at the Guardian. So we normally have planning meetings on Fridays, and this one is going to be Halloween themed so that people can like dress up and whatnot. And also on Friday, Wright State's University's Activities Board is actually holding this huge Halloween bash. So it's going to be like a hall. Like I have a thing here. There's gonna be like a haunted hospital, laser tag,
Ooh.
craft cemetery, costume party. So I'm really excited for that, and I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of people are excited for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there are a lot of Halloween themed events going on throughout the week
And
on
if
campus.
you want a list of events, a quick list of events, check out Alexis's events article on wsuguardian.com.
I think there's pumpkin painting.
I think that's today.
I think that's today
Yeah.
in the atrium.
And I have
So-
speaking of like the costumes and stuff, I got this like medieval Renaissance outfit
Ooh.
for the Renaissance Festival, and I'm just like get two birds with one stone.
Yeah.
I'll just rewear it again.
Yeah,
There
just
you go.
go. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see it. I think I'm personally just gonna do something basic like a witch or something. But
As you should.
I normally dress pretty spooky.
Yeah,
Um,
as you should.
so
I mean,
Yeah.
you could always just say you're a journalist.
yeah, just be like that's just
That's
that is also like just my personal. I really I tried to like do dress up as like Rita Skeeter from Harry Potter. I could not find the outfit for it. So that would have been funny
You
and
should
like
just
iconic.
bring in like a quill. Does she have a green quill or something?
I
Isn't
think
that-
so. I would have to look back,
But she has that magical quill that writes down like all the wrong information.
yeah,
That's not you,
but yeah, she's just iconic because she's so funny.
you got to
Um,
get the glasses
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
There you go.
I mean, I feel like my regular glasses don't look like I'm for those who are viewing on YouTube. I am wearing my reading glasses. I'm quite visually impaired. So But I feel like my regular glasses are kind of similar to hers. I don't know where my
They're on
regular-
top of your head.
Okay, that's amazing. Yeah, cool. Any final thoughts?
Just want to say, hi, Mom.
Hi,
Per
Mom.
usual.
Per
Hey.
usual. Good
Yeah.
morning. Well, as always, if you liked this conversation, tune in next week for Guardian News Hour. You can also check us out on WSUGuardian.com. Follow us on all of our socials at WSU Guardian on all platforms. Nexus Literary Magazine is out and accepting submissions on the theme of paradox. That is nexus.wsuguardian.com. So that's where you can submit that. We also have Reader Report Podcast, which is a podcast, not a live show, that comes out later in the week. So thank you all so much for tuning in and listening to Guardian News Hour. Thank you, Alexis and Emily, for coming in this morning and talking with me. Yeah, as always, you're listening to WWSU 106.9 FM, Fairborn, Dayton, Dayton's right choice. Thank you and have a great week.